So today I'm in Sheffield. I'm going to do a full walkthrough from the old Haymarket area right to the bottom of the moor. So if this is the short you're watching, just click on the link and you'll be able to see a full tour of Sheffield. If it's not the short, it's the full video. Get ready for a full tour of Sheffield. So we have the Victoria Quays here, Canal Basin, and just to the left of it, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, we had a massive car park down there called Maltravers. So you could come straight down the parkway, you could park cheaply there. It wasn't a fantastic covered surface, but it did the job. And all around this area where the markets were was absolutely loads of parking. But now if you come into Sheffield, you're going to have to actually drive in to the main city centre and park in a multi-story or somewhere like that, much more expensive car parks. So it sort of defeats the object if you don't want cars in the city centre. And we used to park away from the city centre at the bottom of the parkway, and now you have to get in the city centre to park. So this was a busy road, completely shut off. We'll walk into the old Haymarket area of Sheffield. But you can see the greater green. I did a video on that last week which you can pick up on. Now it would have been nice to have done it on a bright sunny day, but it can be bad with the camera. But also, if I'd done it tomorrow when it is going to be sunny, people have been complaining I wasn't doing a realistic view of Sheffield, showing you the footfall, etc. Now across here where you've got the Canal Basin, right in front of there was the Corn Exchange. I think it was knocked down in the 1960s. It was a beautiful building. It had a fire, but it could have been renovated, and they chose to knock it down. A fantastic part of our heritage, just right in front of there was the Corn Exchange, for anybody who wants to know that. But we had absolutely loads of parking down here, right up to Commercial Street, where you could just come straight down, part way over there and park over here. Now I don't believe town centres are for people living in, and that's what previous Sheffield Council didn't believe. They wanted to get people out of the town centres, provide a fantastic public service into the city centre for people coming to shop, work, etc. But just here where you can see what is now a car park was the sheep market, and it would have come right down to nearly to the roadside there. So it came from the back end of that red brick car park right down to the road. Now Dora Vernon, she picked up on a video, sorry not a video, from some stuff from 1996 I think it was, and they were going to redevelop the Castle Market right just there. And what they've done is they've shut the Castle Market down, moved it to the bottom of the moor and killed this area completely. Even in 1996 there was plans to uncover the castle ruins, so we would have achieved both objectives. And now this is a real positive development in Sheffield for me, if it goes the whole way and recovers a lot more of the castle than we know from the 1920s. So let's just have a walk up. But if I've got my memory right, there was actually an outdoor Castle Market there at one bit on that area when the sheaf was over there. But this used to be, Exchange Street used to be a busy road, but you can just see the area around here now and you'll see the footfall. It's 12:30 on a Saturday. Snooker today, football at Bramall Lane, so no excuses, I'm picking bad times. This is a fantastic bit of wall art here, sport steel, but you can't run steel on green. Really seriously folks, you can't run it on green. So once Exchange Street was blocked off, they put the outside market up here for Castle. think that was still going till about 2010, the Castlemarket. The Castlemarket was over here, but we've lost the Market Tavern, and there was a reprieve on its demolition, and the people carrying out the demolition carried it on anyway. Still got the Woodford's building, but you can see the excavation going off. I'll stick my camera through and just show you one bit of it. But I'm excited by this development. This is the only thing that excites me in Sheffield. So this would have been an absolute busy part of the market outdoor. Market at the bottom of the moor goes nowhere near replacing what they've taken away, and the problem is it's far more expensive as well. So you're going to kill the traders off to start with. I'm not too sure what we'll see through here, but you can start to see this area, and it's something I'll be keeping up to date from week to week. There's a bit of a dig going off just beyond these railings, some concrete posts, and there's certainly an archaeological dig going off around there. I don't know what they're doing, but you'll be able to keep coming back to my videos on the castle site, which you can see on that sign. I can't see it. That's the problem with sunny days, it starts to blur what I can see on the screen. The images are great, but so this area here, as you can see, was Norfolk Market Hall. Now that was another new beautiful building. Now if you've been in Leeds and their markets and that, it was on comparison with those types of buildings, but they knocked it down again. Now we're coming on to the busy Haymarket area, as you can see, and that's ironic that. So that's our old town hall. It was being renovated into a hotel of some kind, and then the developer went bust, and then it's been rebought out and nothing's happening, which is a big concern about that area, that this will, if we're not careful, it'll become another Market Tavern, which 12:30 should be absolutely thriving, this area at 12:30, but there's nothing to come down here for anymore. So this would have been the whole of the Castlemarket outside, just on this side. Massive area compared with what we've now got on the bottom of the moor. So this was where Norfolk Market Hall was, just here where Wilco's was. This was the old Davis Cafe. So we're looking up Castle Street, and then Castle House. Alright, so I just stopped my video there. A chap called Shane, who watches my videos on YouTube, has seen me, so it's nice to catch up with somebody. His heart's broken like mine. So we got the 1960s Castle House Co-op, beautiful spiral staircase in there. There was a food place down there till very recently, a co-op food place, and that's now shut. But we'll have a look round the other side. I'm going to actually walk up here now. I'm going to walk up the Haymarket side. But what I think, and I think what other people probably suspect, this is going to be turned into a park here with the archaeological remains. But how much of it's dug out, we don't know. But our concern is this will be a park, and then what they're going to do is start putting more and more high rises around here. So this is an attempt to get people to live around here. So we got Wilco here, which was originally Woolworths. It's actually busy here today, that compared with the video I did last week at 2 o'clock. I did a quick short last week at 2 and it was absolutely empty. So this was the old Davis Cafe, absolutely heaving that was. Now what they've done is they've kept the frontage on this Tudor building, and we don't know how old it is, or Elizabethan, whatever you call it. Kept the frontage and they've just left it, and I've done a freedom of information to the council saying that it's going to deteriorate when it's just left on hanging like this. But I really want you to get an appreciation down here. Now Shane's just mentioned something and I want to show it you. So they blocked Dixon Lane off because you used to be able to get your vehicles down there. So you got Dixon Lane and you can just see Dixon Lane's got nothing left. Now back in the 50s it all had barrow boys out down here, because if you went down here you got the old Sheaf Market, outdoor market, rag and tag market was down here. Got the Norfolk Hotel at the bottom, but this was busy with shops back in the 80s. As you can see, it's absolutely dead. But this is absolutely a busy day for the Haymarket. But anybody, if you look back at on Google at particular years, you'll actually see how thriving this area once was. But it just gives you but one of the things is my dad's been watching the videos for months, but until he came in Sheffield with me he didn't realise how bad it was. My videos really don't portray how bad Sheffield is. Now just here was British Home Stores, 2 stories as well, it's now B&M. And I remember a different bridge across here. It used to be a bit rickety, to tell you the truth. That's probably why I think that bridge has been replaced. I used to sort of tread walking across that bridge. So we're looking up King Street. I think King Street was quite a classy place. There we got the C&A building. C&A was a Dutch company that was here long before the EU and things like that. Great fashion place. So we're now coming on to Commercial Street. But I just want to show you a few buildings around here. That sounds a bit rough. So here you've got the Sheffield Stock Exchange just here, which I think was the Yorkshire Bank recently. You can still see it on there. And if I walk across the road in a moment, just here, this corner building, it had about 5 or 6 exclusive shops in this corner. It was known as Dunn's Corner here. Let's just have a quick walk into Fitzalan Square. So we're now in Fitzalan Square, looking at the old GPO building that's now Sheffield Allen University. Could even get your passports done in here. That's how ridiculous it's now become. You can only send away for your passports, I think. Just here, this tall building was the Bell Pub. Next to it was the Newsreel Cinema, and then it used to jut further out because we had a beautiful Barclays Bank right just there. Old world, absolutely fantastic. That was knocked down in the 1970s for road widening. Tragic, should never have been allowed. But the actual Newsreel Cinema just here got burned down. Now that don't happen very often in Sheffield, does it? We'll have a quick look down Commercial Street, but it's pretty dead nowadays. So that was the Stock Exchange, and I'll just nip round the back of it, here. Still got a Couplan's here, which is good news. So we got the beautiful Canada House. It had another name, or something like Pelham or something like that. I can't remember the name, but that was the Sheffield United gas line company. And we knew it as an Oriental buffet place. I think you could eat as much as you could get down here for the same price. I've got a feeling that that's now been taken over by Sheffield City Council. It's going to be a music venue, but I wouldn't quote me on that, but I'm sure I've seen some pictures of a new venue for music and it looks like it's in there. It's a beautiful building, that. And I need to probably just go down a bit further, so I'm going to just stop the camera and nip down and just show you something. So we're now looking at the Supertram bridge. I actually like the Supertram bridge, but I don't like what the Supertram's done to Sheffield. You can see the Hyde Park Flats or Park Hill, whatever. That's been now converted into sort of luxury apartments. A bit unfair on working class Sheffielders because they'll not be able to afford that. There we've got Ponds Forge Baths, created for the World Student Games in '91. But what I wanted to just show you down here is this is where the Rag and Tag Market was, down here. So it stretched right up to the roadside down there, where that building is there. That was part of it as well. So all this area was the Rag and Tag Market, got all market stalls, and you could probably walk under it without getting wet. And then it was also the original sheaf market, which then moved across to where I've shown you. Then you can actually see the bottom of Dixon Lane just there, just to the right of there, and just up there was Castle Folds Market, which was like the wholesale fruit and veg market at the time, which is now in the Parkway area of Sheffield. But all these buildings have been built on what was car park in the 1970s, so all this, like, you could park your car on. So what they've done is took away all the parking that was in the centre of, or sorry, on the outskirts of Sheffield. Yeah, they have got some parking, but it costs you an absolute fortune now. But we'll get back up Commercial Street. I don't think we'll ever get back to how Sheffield was in the past. I ain't got those unrealistic aims, but I think we need to come back 50%. I think everything's gone 100% too much one way, and we need to pull the joystick back 50%. I certainly don't agree with people living in the city. I think people should be outside the city centre. Belongs to the rest of us, and we should be transported in with cheap transport. Should be the commercial and shopping district and entertainment. But like I said, I'm against this living in it. I think there's an agenda for people living in the city centres. So we're in Fitzalan Square. So I've mentioned one pub, I mentioned the Newsreel Cinema, then across here we had the Odeon Cinema, which is now the Mecca Bingo Hall, and then we start to go down to Pond Street down here, which I'm not going to go into. It's absolutely deserted. But you can see the O2 Academy building up there, Steely's nightclub, Barry Noble's Roxy, etc. Car park underneath there, but the O2 Academy at the moment is closed because of these concrete concerns. And there has been talk in the past, or artist impressions, of that being a 3,000-seater snooker hall that would be connected by a bridge to the Crucible, so that would become Crucible 2 up there, and the other one would be Crucible 1. So that's the old Odeon cinema. I wish I'd been in it. It looks a beautiful building. It's 1960s again. We can have good stuff. So you can see the white building here, and I think it's actually called the white building. This has got some nice murals on it, look like little mesters. But my big concern is they want to force the agenda on the city centre, their reset, and then what they'll do is push out from the city centre to the rest of Sheffield. So if you don't fight for a city centre, your communities will be next. And we're already seeing it at places like Walkley and Crooks. But there was the C&A building. Now that was bombed heavily in the Second World War. That's why it's a modern sort of building. And then the top end of it was Burton's Corner. That was a beautiful building, bombed in the war as well. Became Peter Robinson's, that top end. So the top end to the left of the camera is going to be King's Tower, probably the tallest building in Sheffield if it ever happens. Just here you've got the Marples pub, probably the most famous pub in Sheffield, because about 70 or 80 people lost their lives in here when it was either 500 or £1,000 bomb dropped on it in the Second World War. But we had the hole in the road just here. Now look at the amount of cars now. The hole in the road would just be absolutely perfect. Somewhere around here you're going to like a subway on each corner and getting to the hole in the road, and it used to connect you into all the shops around here. But we really need the hole in the road now. Because there's now getting as many cars in this area as there was before. So where you can see the bus just there, that was about slap bang in the middle of the hole in the road. But the hole in the road and the way they put the dual carriageway on Arundel Gate was visionary, but now they've actually ruined it. They've cluttered it. We used to have classy shops. I can remember a wedding shop round here where you could pick up suits. See the John Welsh's building now, which is a Poundland and a supermarket and various other things. So that was John Welsh's. Used to come up in to there on escalators from the hole in the road over here. I just think the hole in the road was so fantastic. They wanted cleaning up, wanted mosaic walls, and it wanted a security system, but there was actually nothing actually wrong with it. So I'll just show you quickly down Arundel Gate, but I can only sort of get so far in the car down here, and then what actually happens is you've got to sort of turn back round, otherwise you end up going through a bus gate. But we have got the snooker on, so this area of Sheffield is going to be busier to normal. But I just want to give you a full appreciation of what it looks like around here, how depressed it is, to how people from Sheffield, the born and breds, will remember it. Claymore was down there. I'm just going to have a quick walk down Angel Street and show you down Angel Street. So we're looking down the Rundle Gate. It looks like there's been an incident down there. There's a police car and somebody looks like they're on the floor. But this was the original entrance into John Walsh's. It's now Poundland, looking towards the hole in the road. But it used to be great, the hole in the road, because if it was raining or whatever, it didn't just protect you from cars, it protected you from the weather, and you could get in from Pond Street up escalators through the hole in the road and get out into all the shops around here from it, like across there where you got C&A, or across there you could get all access into the hole in the road from it. But this is the entranceway to Poundland. We'll just have a quick walk over here, which took me absolutely ages to just cross this little bit, and they, like I said, they got rid of it, said they didn't need it because there was no vehicles around here anymore. They also said the super tram was going to run through here, but we had plans of the monorail. We were having a monorail in Sheffield in the 1970s, and they were going to put a bridge over the hole in the road for the monorail, which I'm sure they could have done for super tram. But super tram's done so much damage. I love the old tram networks from the 1960s in Sheffield, serving all the suburbs of Sheffield, but all the super tram has done to Sheffield is actually destroy it. It destroyed High Street in '94 when they closed the hole in the road, and then shut down a lot of the businesses that have never recovered. So the super tram in '94 started to destroy some of the small Sheffield family businesses. Like I say, it's a nightmare getting across this area now. To say we're supposed to be going carless, I've never seen so many cars in the city centre. So we've got Cocaine's here, which was bombed in the war. People know it as Schofield's, Leeds company. Then where you've got the Premier Inn, that was the ABC cinema. We're looking down the top end of King Street. This is where King's Tower will be. If it ever gets built, they've been talking about it, then the planning permission changes and it's supposed to have been approved again, but I'll be very surprised when it happens. So I've seen some old pictures. I think this was the Yorkshire Bank. I used to be able to get from the hole in the road to Yorkshire Bank as well. It was just so fantastic, the hole in the road. So I keep getting told that I live in the past. No, I live in the future, folks. Those who think I live in the past, you want to be in the dark ages with what you're actually hoping for. So here we've got the Banker's Draft, the Weatherspoons. That was Midland Bank, HSBC. Same again from a hole in the road. We had an outdoor shopping centre in Sheffield, which they wrecked. Yes, we had a bit of an issue at the time with homeless people, but we've got a far worse issue now with homelessness in Sheffield. But the super tram serves no purpose for the majority of us in Sheffield. It's nothing like the 1960s trams. If anything, and this is what Dora Vernon keeps going on about, it takes traffic away from Sheffield to Crystal Peaks, to Fargate and to Meadowhall, rather than drawing people in from the suburbs into Sheffield and giving you a connection back out to the other suburbs. So we've got High Court down there, but it's so shabby now. We might have been an industrial city, but we had some class, and I don't see much class in Sheffield anymore. I just see tacky. Got the beautiful Telegraph building there in white. And just to the top left hand corner is York Street, and if you went down there, there was the printing press for Sheffield Star. It used to cost us 5p or 10p, pick it up every night from street sellers, and it was printed at Dinnington for a while, so they stopped selling it in Sheffield, and then it's now printed elsewhere, but it costs you an absolute fortune for a Star. So we've still got some beautiful buildings left in Sheffield. So that was York Street, where the printing press was for the Sheffield Star. And just up here somewhere, I think it was the Crazy Daisy nightclub where Human League met. But it gives you a real impression of sort of top end of High Street. Like I said, we've still got a few beautiful buildings left around here. But this is Boots Corner, and everybody remembers the sea of people walking around Boots Corner in the past. I felt it was going to kick off a minute ago. There were police vans stopped, and then they're all screaming and shouting. Yeah, we had a few homeless people in the hole in the road, but it's 10 times as bad now. It's absolutely shocking. And the begging in Sheffield. Homeless people don't beg because homeless people are concerned about where they live. And that would be the #1 priority, because they never used to beg. So we've got Sheffield Cathedral here. But I'm sure a lot of this was green. We've still got some green around here. But when they keep talking about Greater Green, I'm sure a lot more of this area was green in the past. Because I'm sure we all, at lunchtime, used to come out and do a bit of sunbathing around here. When I worked at HSBC round the back, one bit we employed 2,000 people, HSBC in Sheffield, quality jobs. Well, I don't believe the quality jobs anymore. So we're now heading towards Church Street. Well, we're on High Street, but because it sort of moves towards Church Street, I just wanted to show you the Cutler's Hall. It's got two beautiful ballrooms in there, one upstairs, one downstairs, both totally different. The one downstairs has got pillars, the one upstairs has got marble slabs everywhere. We've lost another bank just here. The white corner building used to look like this, and that was Cole's Corner, and they knocked that down in 1964. Now that cost, well, it got sold on for about £1 million in 1964, which is an awful lot of money in 1964. But how they knocked a building down that looked like that on the corner, that blended in with all those buildings across there, I don't know. Now just here was Midland Bank, HSBC building. It's now a Tesco. I'm just going to give you the best angle on this before see these beautiful buildings we've got left. Just being careful I don't get knocked over. But I wanted to do a full Monty type video today, and what I'll do is I'll break it down, put a bit up each day. So just here we've got the Stonehouse pub. Now there was the formal bit of Stonehouse pub, and then behind it it was a shambles, which is like a York type courtyard, and that disappeared when they built Orchard Square, and then later the Stonehouse pub disappeared. But right in the middle of it you see a door at either end, but right in the middle where you see two windows, that bit's been replaced, and there was like a big Georgian door there with steps up to. I was lost where the Stonehouse was, because it no longer looked like the Stonehouse, but that's right where the Stonehouse was, and you got steps up and a Georgian window. So there we've got the Orchard Square, back end of it. I'm not really going to go up any further there, but what I will do is I'll show you the beautiful architecture in Sheffield when I can find it. I think that was a court building, because I think they were cells beneath it, but it seems a bit ornate, doesn't it? I mean, for a court building. But I keep hearing from people about, I want my country back, I want my city back. But one of the concerning things is there's a vote for South Yorkshire mayoral that's been counted today, and I suspect Labour will get back in. Now if people are against all the cycle lanes everywhere, the majority I'm talking about, then why are you voting South Yorkshire mayoral back in as a Labour? If you think the policing's shocking in Sheffield, why are you voting for South Yorkshire mayoral? I'm not a Conservative voter, but the Conservatives are talking about police stations again and getting police back on the beat again. But that's not going to happen under South Yorkshire mayoral, under Labour, which the people have voted back for. Now you're against the clean air zone in Sheffield, you're against the cycle lanes, but you etc. and all this nonsense, and you voted Labour, Liberal and Greens back in. Now why aren't people standing independent candidates in? I'd much rather vote for an MP who's an independent, that's going to stand up for my community. But all the main political parties are gender driven, virtue signalling nonsense. So we're now moving on to Fargate. Now Fargate was pedestrianised in 1974, and I remember before that fantastic Christmas lights in Sheffield, and my dad used to drive up Fargate. Same again, we've got a few lovely buildings still in Sheffield, but you'll now start to see the mess on Fargate. It's going to go on for about 2 years. This was Cole's Corner again, and this was absolutely fantastic building, was so classy. When they talk about health and safety, and then you see the state of this, they seem to forget about health and safety when it suits them. So we've got Black Swan Walk down here. Now I was born in 64, been coming into Sheffield since 66, even though I was probably in a pram, and I didn't know about Black Swan Walk until lockdown. Now this was a really nice tailor's in there. Now we've got Chapel Walk here, and they're talking about spending a few £1 million on it. Well, it's so awful in the bottom of here. And do you know what? I'm going to take you down here. I've been told that I film it at the wrong time, so let's have a walk down Chapel Walk. Now we've got a Staniford here, a local name, Bakers, with a shut. It must be about 1:30 on a Saturday. I think they shut at 2 o'clock, but you can start to see what it looks like down here. But there used to be a fantastic fruit and veg place in Staniford, but you know, we're like 1 o'clock, 1:30 now, and people are telling me I'm filming to get the maximum effect. Well, Sheffield United's at home, so Sheffield United supporters are in town, and you can just see how bad it is. This is a Sanctuary Cafe. This was an open doorway from Marks and Spencer's that they closed down, which I think's damaged this area as well. But this was, you know, full of fantastic independent shops at one bit. But as you can see, there's a sign on this end of Chapel Walk. What I can't understand is, us born and bred Sheffielders know about Chapel Walk, but why ain't there one at the other end? On the Fargate end, it won't cost that much to stick one of these up on the other end to draw people in. There's nothing to draw people in. Like I said, I didn't know about Black Swan Walk, even though I'd been born and bred from 1964. I didn't even know about Black Swan Walk, so a lot of people coming to Sheffield won't even know. But here you've got the snooker Crucible, built in 1974, and there's talk at the moment they want to move out of Sheffield. It's still got a contract of 3 years for the snooker, but they're saying that they don't hold enough in the Crucible, even though it's going to ruin it when you put in a stadium full of 3,000. But they also want to try and move it across to Saudi Arabia or China or somewhere like that, because they can get more money. And that just shows you the sort of greed we've got in society nowadays. So we're looking back down towards Arundel Gate. You've now got a bus interchange now on Arundel Gate. Like I said, the Pond Street now is absolutely dead. So we've got the Victoria Hall just here. What I'll do is I'll just whip back through another road here, because I used to love this road on the way to work in the morning or coming back in an evening. But I thought we want to get rid of cars from Sheffield city centre. I've never seen so many cars in the city centre. But one warning, if Labour get in government, they'll start charging people to drive cars in cities. So we're on George Street. Never busy George Street, because it wasn't that type of place. But it's got some absolutely beautiful buildings, so I thought it's worth walking you back through George Street. So we've got the Curzon Cinema here. I never had a decent film on to go and see what the Curzon Cinema was like. The prices are cheap if you get an online account like me for free. I think it's only about £7 or £8 at most to go in Curzon, so that's cheapest cinema I know of in Sheffield. So you can see Sheffield Curzon Cinema. I'm going to spin round and show you another building. So here was the regional head office for Midland Bank. Beautiful building. It's been shut for a long time now. I think it was NSPCC at one bit. But this is just so fantastic, this building. Why can't we build like this anymore? It's absolutely gorgeous, that building. Let's get back onto High Street. So as you came from the hole in the road down there up some escalators, you walk along here and you couldn't move for people. It would be an absolute sea of people. And even in the 1950s, before they put the hole in the road in, I've seen pictures of this corner and it's absolutely snided with people. But this is Saturday afternoon now, about 2 o'clock. The biggest thing around here now is obstructions, as you're going to start to see. Here they're putting metal posts in everywhere. Now you're a small, medium-sized business and your delivery drivers are going to struggle to get to you in normal working hours. You're not a big corporate concern who can have somebody staying over till late at night or wherever. But the thing that shocked me down more than anything was the number of food places. You just couldn't believe the number of food places in Sheffield. But you know, as we walked back towards the Haymarket, we couldn't find a decent place to go and sit down and have a cup of coffee and a cake. And my dad said, which I'll repeat again, he said Sheffield weren't as bad as this in the Blitz. So as you can see there, it looks like you can only get your cars up at certain times. So you're a small business, you're going to struggle to get deliveries. So it's all geared up for these large companies that can leave one member of staff there to load up in middle at night. But your smaller business, your family run businesses, they can't spend all the working hours at the business. But the progress on here is so slow. And you can see the standard of shops along here now. I tend to probably go a bit too quick for people, I didn't realise. So we've got Marks and Spencer's still here. How long it'll last I don't know, because this has been turned into an events area in the future. It's more aimed for the university than the folks actually paying the council tax in Sheffield. Does nothing for the older people. But we're told that it's Meadowhall and online shopping that kills Sheffield. No, it isn't. It's Sheffield City Council with the policies being anti-car. They could have probably blocked Meadowhall when it was originally built. But then, if it had gone to some sort of government decision, then they could have competed against Meadowhall by sorting the parking was okay, they got rid of it. So once you get rid of the parking, people are saying, well, it's easy to drive into Meadowhall for free than park in Sheffield. So it's business as usual. It's not right easy to run your business around here because you don't know where they're going to be doing work next. So just here, this is where Next was, and what they were doing is they were doing the building up on this corner, and then it had to be knocked down because of structural defects, and then the developer's gone bust and it's now just stuck like this. WH Smith hanging on. But you can start to see some of the work going ahead down here now.
Oh, just the cover with the...
C'est quoi ce journal d'abord?
So we had HSBC here, now they've moved to the bottom of the moor. We had about 5 or 6 HSBCs in town at one bit and just one left. People say that people didn't want branches anymore, but they were pushed out of the branches. I don't know if anybody remembers in lockdown how they were making people queue up outside branches to get in, really ridiculously long after there was an alleged issue. So we've got the entranceway now to Orchard Square. We'll just look. There's the entranceway. Now I'm trying to work it out. I'll swing back round in a minute, but I just want to show you these massive posts now. Now I've got no fear of terrorists, folks. I don't believe it's as big a threat as made out to be, and if this is what these are for, I don't buy into the argument. But somewhere around here was the Goodwin fountains, and like what always happens with Sheffield, things don't get maintained. There's nothing wrong with the Goodwin fountains other than it needed a good clean periodically, new motor every few years. I'll just show you down Leopold Street. You can just see how empty Leopold Street is. Just here was the Buccaneer originally, but this old frontage has been changed in the 1960s. The Fountain Precinct replaced the Grand Hotel, and that would have been about where the Buccaneer was. Now, the entranceway, all this area here, used to look like down there, so where it looks really nice, they knocked that down and replaced it with 1960s stuff. But what they could have done is they could have kept that frontage down there and built the offices behind it and got best of both worlds, but that's not what they did. But they're making it more and more difficult, because I think before lockdown buses could get through here along Pinstone Street, and now they've blocked buses coming through the middle of the town. So I'm trying to make a decision. Do I do Barker's Pool first, or do I do Surrey Street? Let's go down Surrey Street. But I'll just show you the town hall first. You can start to see the work progressing now. But they're narrowing the roads down, as you can see on this corner here. And in a moment I'm going to show you where the new hotel's going. So it looks like it's only going to be one lane round here. But if you're staying in the new Radisson Blue Hotel, I don't think there'd be any car parking in it. You're going to have to hump baggage from a car park that you've paid for that might cost you how much, 30 quid a night or whatever, on top of what you're paying daily to stay in the place. So this is the old penny bank, Yorkshire Bank, but it was originally an hotel. It seems busier than it is because there's just so many obstructions around. I'm trying to think of the name of the hotel there, I can't remember its name, but it had a lovely castle turrets on the top that have been removed. So you can get your car up to Norfolk Street, but I'm just going to show you the prices in a moment. But this is laughable here. We've got a bar downstairs just here, and this is where the gents' toilets were. I'm sorry folks, but I'm not going in a bar where the gents' toilets were for about 100 years. So we've got the Montgomery Hall here. I don't know what's happening with the Montgomery Hall because it looks like it's closed. Beautiful small theatre. I hope that's going through renovation and it's not closed for good. Been to a show in there and it was quite nice in there. Probably only held about 300, 400, but it serves a purpose for small amateur productions. Just looking for the car parking so I can show you how much it is. Probably end up coming. So we're looking down the top end of Norfolk Street just here. So you can get up Arundel Gate, up Norfolk Street to this area, but if you don't know your way, it's a bit of a nightmare. I had to drive my dad up here because he couldn't get a bus. Well, he could get a bus, but he'd be out nearly all day coming into Sheffield. And he didn't know how to drive his car in. So we've got the Ruskin building just there. In fact, I'll go down a bit more and show it you. So they get probably about 500 people, don't they, in the snooker, so there's going to be a few extra people around for the snooker. Top end of Crucible. Then you can see St Mary's Cathedral, which is a Catholic cathedral, beautiful building.
It's a tough competition to win though, isn't it?
So this was a bank, but it's now a head of steam. This is the upper chapel, and it's a Unitarian church, which means they believe Jesus existed, but he wasn't the Son of God, which is what I believe. So we've got the Brown Bear pub, which I thought had closed, but it's definitely open at the moment. So this is Union Street. Now Union Street had a lovely like cinema on here. I think it was Union Theatre, I can't remember, but it was a beautiful building that got knocked down. All the beautiful buildings on Union Street have been wiped out one at a time by the council. Got the police on horses. It's just virtue signalling. We need them in as communities at night for antisocial behaviour, and we never see them. But they'll come out for the big events like this. I'll just have a quick walk down here. It's snided with the police here, but I don't know if this is a football, snooker or what. So we've got the Winter Gardens, which to me is probably only one of the decent developments in my lifetime, but it's already looking a bit jaded. So Sheffield United is at home today, but I can't imagine them playing a big club. So we've got Sheffield Central Library, Tudor Square. Bottom end, it's a bit difficult today, is the Lyceum Theatre, and then the Crucible. But really it's just a snapshot today, just to show you Sheffield. Getting to Barker's Pool next. What I'll do is I'll put this under one playlist, so if there's 5 or 6 videos, I'll put Sheffield City Centre, put the date, and I'll put it under a playlist for that. But born and bred Sheffields will know that Sheffield's pretty deserted today. And it's the snooker's on, United's at home, and all the United supporters come through town. So it's now 10 to 2. Prime Saturday shopping time. Go to Manchester, go to Leeds, go to Nottingham. It's absolutely heaving at this time. So online is not affected their cities, and Trafford Centre's not affected Manchester, because they have actually got a decent Supertram system to Sheffield. Goes into all their suburbs, bringing people into their city. It doesn't take people away to the other shopping centres. So up there on that corner that you've got Yorkshire House, and there's a 1 o'clock signal on there, and during lockdown at 1 o'clock I used to hear this siren, and I thought they were gaslighting us in lockdown, but that 1 o'clock signal was for everybody setting their watches up back in the 1900s, because that was the it says on there cabinet makers, H.L. Brown. We can see the work going ahead now, because they're talking about having cycle lanes on Pinstone Street next. So you've come to a big plush hotel on Pinstone Street, but you can't really cycle your bags in, can you? I mean, I've worked around the country, and when I come to an hotel I just want to drive my car up, put it in the car park, because I'm in a strange town. Get my bags up to the room. And have a cup of tea. So I'm guessing all these taxis are around because it's snooker at the moment. So this where you can see like an orange building and then a white one. This was the Odeon cinema that became the red Meccano building, and now they've changed the fascia on it again, and I think it looks just as tacky as the red Meccano building. Not classy like the original Gaumont cinema. So we've got Barn Green Park here. It's become more and more of a concrete jungle as they took the grass away. Same up here as well, you've got the COVID-19 monument, and I'm not going to get drawn into anything like that, and people can read into that what I'm saying. So here we've got John Lewis shut down his second lockdown. That's had a massive impact on Sheffield city centre. So we've got the City Hall here. I don't know what's going off in here today. Now, that's where I came to the ballroom, but these don't look like ballroom dancers to me. One bit, we used to have tea dances every Saturday, Tuesday and Thursday in the City Hall, but I don't think they want them anymore because they don't make a lot of money out of them. They only do it on a Thursday now. So here, Fountain Precinct was the Grand Hotel just here. The Grand Hotel was probably replaced by the Grosvenor Hotel, which has been gone quite some time. So here we are in Barker's Pool in Sheffield. You never see any policemen in your communities. They haven't got the manpower, have they, to actually police our communities. But they're really out in force here today for a football match. Now Sheffield United's at home, last match of the season. United's relegated, Forest are here. Now I was down at Forest a few weeks ago filming in Nottingham. I was speaking to a Nottingham Forest supporter. He wanted to take me in a pub full of Forest fans. Forest supporters are very middle class. I really wouldn't expect any trouble today from Forest supporters. I really wouldn't. But I really just want to show you what's going off. It's really totally not necessary. All it's doing to me is incensing people. I were a football supporter for 40 years and I don't want to come with all this lot. There used to be mixed at Hillsborough on the Leppings Lane back in the 1970s. And I've seen 50,000 in Hillsborough with Wednesday and Chelsea on Leppings Lane in the 1970s, and now we've got all this. So I just really want to show you what's going off really. This is, to me, it's intimidation more than anything. And I've told the police officer I believe that as well, and he says, well, I can't comment because I'm in my uniform. But you can see for yourselves, folks, what do you reckon? So we're at the top end looking in Barker's Pool. Like I've just done a short on what I've just seen, and I feel unhappy that we can never have any police in our communities, but they can turn them out like this for a football match against a team, Nottingham Forest, who are very middle class supporters. I was down there only a few weeks ago and they wanted me to come in pub knowing I were a Wednesday fan. Yeah, I know Forest might get relegated today, but really I don't believe their fans have got any record of causing problems. But let's get back. On to showing you the town centre.
All this other time you've got in it.
So I've just gleaned some more information off somebody. Passerby, and they said it's not to do with football. So why didn't the policeman say that to me when I've just been speaking to him? They said it's to do with the Palestinian protests. Well, I've been coming out in Sheffield all the time with the Palestinian protests, and we've actually had no problem at all from the people protesting about Palestine. I don't like what I've just seen. So we're coming down now onto Pinstone Street, and you can see now there used to be buses up and down here before lockdown, which they used the emergency laws to shut the road down in lockdown, and they've never reopened it. It could have been for the buses, but they don't want them here. So we got the Radisson Blue Hotel. This has been going off since lockdown started. They've kept the old fascia but completely gutted the back of the building. And this should open shortly. We do need a decent hotel in the middle of Sheffield. I mean a classy hotel, which I'm assuming that's what it's going to be. But my concern is there's no car park for it. So I've just picked up with Mark Bannerman, so Mark's going to have a walk round with me. We're in what was once the Peace Gardens, and the grassed area for the Peace Gardens came right up to here, so you can see that like wall along there. That's as far as the Peace Gardens come now, but one bit.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's one. Mark's just come. You'll find Mark Bannerman's channel, and Mark's just pointed this out, and I've not seen it before, and that's brilliant because I've been looking for one of these. It's a proper bell. So I'll be bringing my tuning forks in to try on one of these. But Miss Avisham and also Dave Ebony, look at the symbology on it. What's this all about? So we'll just have a look at this one. This is really interesting. If Mark had to come with me, I'd have never seen it. So refurbished by apprentices of the Technical Apprentices Workshop of Krupp, German steel company. And it's presented by the people of Bochum to the people of Sheffield on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the twinning between their cities. So that's a really good little bit of history. So that was a bit of a shock to find that bell. Well, Mark found the bell, I didn't see it. There's a bit more attention for detail, Mark, than me. Or he sees different things to what I see. So what I was saying is the green area came right up to those buildings, and it's nearly all concrete now. It went right up to the edge of Pinstone Street as well, the green area. And now you can just see the amount of green in the Peace Gardens now. See the back end of Winter Gardens there. town hall just there, but very little green left. And it's quite funny because they talk about grey to green, and they've removed about 80% of the green area around here. I have done a separate video showing you how much green there was in Sheffield in the 1980s. You can see a few cafes around here trying to create the continental style. Just show you back round here. But the Peace Gardens, or the modern Peace Gardens, were created in the heart of the City 1, and we're sort of moving on to Heart of the City 2 now. All the cycle lanes will come down here. So you got rid of cars and you'll have cyclists. I mean, these guys, some of these come down really fast on what look like electric bikes. So this was Nottingham Building Society just here. Got the old Salvation Army, and what they're talking about doing is keeping the frontage on it and building flats up and behind it, which is such a shame. It's got a fantastic area inside, which would make either a small theatre or it would make a good pub of some kind. Back end of John Lewis, this car park's been closed for quite some time. Moved here in 1964. Originally it used to be a theatre on this spot. Just down the back of the Salvation Army, where you can see that white hoarding, that was the Yorkshireman pub just there. Back end of Radisson Blue, but I can see no car parking there. Unless that is a car park, I don't know now. Doesn't look like a car park with it having windows on it, but I could be wrong. What do you reckon, Mark? Is that a car park, or is
that the Yorkshireman pub?
That was where Yorkshireman was, the white hoarding.
Knocked it down.
I'm recording you, by the way.
They knocked it down. I didn't realise.
Yeah. I'm a bit puzzled with that one, Mark. Where?
I mean, that was a pretty sound building, but this one outside of it looks a bit like it's dropping to bits.
What do you mean, the Salvation Army?
I wonder if they'll demolish that. What do you reckon?
Well, what they want to do, Mark, is they want to put big offices behind here and keep the frontage on it. But it's got a beautiful hall inside that would make it either a good pub or
I've been inside that during the lockdown. Not lockdown. The Occupy movement.
Yeah.
They put on a show for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. But this I can't work out. This looks like something extra that I've not seen before. This is not the main part of the Radisson Blue Hotel, is it?
Is that all new?
Yeah, that's all new, that. Because I don't know if that's car parking or delivery entrances. I can't imagine it being car parking without having windows, can you?
No. Maybe there's a car parking underneath. In the basement of this.
Yeah.
It may go downwards.
Yeah, Mark's suggesting the car parking may go downwards, but I've not heard of any car parking for Radisson Blue. But this is the entranceway to Coles that's been shut for quite some time now. But we're just popping onto Cambridge Street. And you can see what I call the Rust Bucket building. But this is a new retail quarter. So the actual work on it looks really good on this area, but what are the rents going to be? That's going to be the big concern. So we're coming up to the back end of Barker's Pool, but somewhere in the middle of all of this lot is going to be the biggest food hall in Europe. Now all the little food businesses in Sheffield, there's too many, are saturated. Like cinema, there's only one unit open that I can find open, and then they're going to open the biggest food hall in Yorkshire in there. Unless what's going to happen in Sheffield is they're going to do what they're doing with Manchester is. Have you heard in Manchester, Mark, they're bringing 200,000 people into the city centre, or that's what they'd like to do.
So building more
high-rises, yeah.
Scrapers. Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what's the plan for Sheffield.
Yeah.
So we're at the back end of the Grosvenor building, which is HSBC's new headquarters. Looking back down, I think it's Garrett Street there. So only the top levels are HSBC's headquarters, so it's not even a quarter the size of the original Griffin House. We can see the surface down here now, and there was areas where they dug it up and put tarmac down, and you can see they've actually...
It's not long been laid, has it? You're digging up again.
Yeah, but they've actually replaced the tarmac just there now.
I've probably seen your video.
So you can see that this is where they tarmacked it and ruined it, but now they're going to ruin it up there. So we've got Elshaw House, the zero carbon building in Sheffield, but the only problem is with the Elshaw House, when you ask them how much energy they've used in building it versus how much energy they'll save, they can't produce the figures, and they say that's not what they really mean, that it's a net zero building. Well, I think when you catch them out and ask them a real fact and they can't answer it, it's because their agenda's fake. So this is where Henry's bar was, and I think Henry's is going to be reopened at some stage. Whether it'll be Henry's again, I don't know. But Henry's was a trendy bar where I first had a pint in a vase.
You took the flowers out first.
Yeah. Looking back down onto Pinstone Street. But it really gives you a flavour for Sheffield now. So what do all you born and bred Sheffielders think? There's plenty of new shop units around here, but we're not filling up the existing shop units. That's the entranceway to HSBC's headquarters. But the funny thing is the banking app don't work anymore. Well, it didn't work this morning, it's been down for 2 or 3 hours. It never works when I use it, and I worked for HSBC for 15 years in Sheffield, and one of my jobs was to make sure there was no single point of failures in the networks. And it makes me wonder if there's some single points of failures that they don't find anymore, because nobody bothers. Just here where you can see Julia's Cosmetics was Sug Sports. A couple of Sug Sports I remember. One I think on Castle Street and one here. You can see the silver looking building down here. That was an award-winning car park. Looking back up Pinstone Street, there's not a... Well, they basically stopped the buses coming down here. They have got some new green electric buses, and they got stolen. I think They admitted to one being stolen, but I think there was more than one stolen. But you can see some of the new work on Heart of the City too, just here. But I just think it's going to put the rents up quite considerably. I think a lot of it's an overkill. They say things don't meet modern standards, but sometimes the actual old stuff were better standards than the modern. You can see how it now rises well above the existing frontage. And the reason why this building was called Grosvenor was because of the original Grosvenor Hotel here. But that was a 1960s modern building, the Grosvenor Hotel. But somewhere up here on Cambridge Street there was a theatre, really, well, it held about 2,500 just in here. Can't remember the name of that one, but I think that was closed about when I was born in '64. Sweeping round here, 1960s building that didn't look very nice. Mid-city house. It's been knocked down, but the only tragic thing built this 1960s building. Look at Cambridge Street here, and then just here was Cambridge Arcade running right through the middle of here. And I did a video of Rotherham. They've got an arcade in their town centre, and it was just like that. It got Barney Goodman's and various other classy shops in the middle of there. So I'm not sad to see the building go, but why can't we bring the arcade back? We're going to end up with a 25-storey building on this site. So we got Debenhams here, which closed in the second lockdown. There was no chance with Debenhams because the whole company went bust. But John Lewis, we could have done more to save John Lewis. Now, they were going to turn this into like a multi-use place. I think we've got John Lewis in Barker's Pool. That's been turned into a multi-use place by Urban Splash. Don't have a lot of confidence in Urban Splash. But Urban Splash has got hold of the Coles building. They were going to turn this into a multi-use building with food units and things, and that's fallen through. I get a feeling it'll end up getting knocked down. But I think this would be a brilliant place for Marks and Spencer's to move to, where it's, at least it's got all the rest of the shops with it. Marks and Spencer's going to be in the middle of an events area in the future. And I think Marks and Spencer's have been better off location to this location. I think somebody else may have mentioned that. I don't think it's my original idea. So looking down Furnable Gate just here, this white building, it used to be two buildings, and the left hand side of it, well, it's one building now, the left hand side of it looked like the blue building you see at the bottom, and that was Redgate's just there. You have to be careful you don't get knocked over, Mark, when you're filming. But really the video more than anything is a snapshot in time. Now one of the biggest problems with Sheffield is they shut the Moor down originally when they started developing Sheffield, but they didn't have the money. I think it was Seven Oaks, a Leeds-based company, and it never got off the ground, so the Moor was shut down for about 10 years. They shut all shops out thinking they were going to do the work. It never happened, so you ended up with loads of empty shops, and then everything started to go pear-shaped after that. But to me, I don't find it classy like the 1960s Moor. May have had cars going up and down it, and prior to that trams, but as a 14-year-old my parents were happy enough for me to come into Sheffield shopping at Christmas with my younger sister. We didn't need safe spaces in the past. Now this was pedestrianised probably about the 1970s. But find a local Sheffield name on here nowadays is zero. Local Sheffield names are all either national or international brands. Basically the small businesses are being regulated out of the market. So you've got HSBC just here, the only branch left in Sheffield city centre. I think the next one is Meadowhall, Market Street, and then there's one at Crystal Peaks, and that is it. Just up here is the Light Cinema. I could only find one food unit actually in use up there, which you know, they're opening the largest food hall in Europe on Cambridge Street, and they can only fill one unit up in there. Here we've got Burton's. You can always tell a Burton's building. Not as beautiful as some of the Burton's building, but it was a Burton's building, as you can see. That takes you down, I'm trying to think now, Matilda Street. I've got some interesting videos down there of Arundel Street. So we got the Next here. Now, I used to use Next originally when it was on Chapel Walk in the 80s, and the quality versus the pricing was absolutely fantastic with Next. But as a 60-year-old, I think we were more fashionable back then than they are now. I think the fashions are really bland, poor quality. I think we were far more colourful back then with our fashions. Does anybody recognise Sheffield? I'm talking to the born and bred Sheffielders. So you've got your Costa. It's like we've got an Holland and Barrett then. The last time I went in there was such a big queue, the only herbalist left I could remember. We used to have 7 wicker herbalists in the town centre. So I went across to Atkinson's because they've got a herbal department, and I found out they were a lot cheaper, and I've used Atkinson's ever since. The thing is, coming down the Moor, you get accosted by Christians. There seems to be Christians everywhere trying to get you to join their whatever. And then you've also got Islamic people, but they're more laid back, they just have a table. But you've got the modern indoor market, which I don't see being anywhere as good as the original Castle and Sheaf markets, and it's destroyed the other end that we came from. As you can see the difference down here compared with the other end. Got Atkinson's here, and Atkinson's is the only Sheffield departmental store left. Most of the other departmental stores got took over years and years ago, but Atkinson's has been able to stand on its own as a family business. I don't know if they've had a lot of private money in, but it's still definitely a Sheffield family business. But like your John Lewis, originally Cole Brothers, that got taken over back in the 1920s. Same with, I'm trying to think, Rackham's, Walsh's, they all got took over very early, then they got passed on to somebody else, but Atkins has stood the test of time. So we're getting very close to the end of the tour, but this is what's left of an outdoor market in Sheffield. So people remember what it used to be like at the other end on the Haymarket side, and this is all that is really left. And I think they've actually cut down the number of the number of hours that you can actually open the markets. I think there was a bit of a argument over the opening hours or whatever, because you need to be open to actually make your turnover with your margins. Some people love what they're doing to Sheffield, which I think is the minority, the 20% and the 80% of us. It makes us absolutely weak what they've done to Sheffield. We don't want it turned into a big university campus, an urbanised living area. And like I say, I know we're never going to go back 100%, but I think we need to go back 50% to what we had before. You can see the flight developments now all around Sheffield for students. It's where they see making all the money from. And then finally we've got the Manpower Commission building, where they originally brought people up from London, government building, and now that department's gone. So this building, yeah, council's using it at the moment, but there's talk of turning this into the Gardens of Babylon, like a flat complex. But just here, we hit a barrier, and at one bit you used to be able to drive straight through here up to 1980. There were trams coming through up to 1960 up here, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes Sheffield ever made, shutting down the tram network that brought people in from all the suburbs into the city centre, and then you could get on another tram to go back out to another suburb. It just worked. The way what's happened since 1980 with having all these out of town shopping centres, everything's fragmented, the bus service don't work. So what they're having to do is, like Sheffield Mayor is bringing all the bus service back under their control. And it's the same with the town centres. We shouldn't have had Meadowhall built. I think it was originally being built as a prison.
That's Stone Island.
Is that Stone Island?
So that's it really. I always think it looks like right bleak down this end of Sheffield now. It seems so dead to how I remember it. So if you can like the video, follow the channel and click on notifications for new videos. But I thought that's a full walk from one end of Sheffield. I've done it on a reasonable warm day, on a day when the snooker was on, when United's at home, so the supporters are coming through town. So I can't give you a more realistic view of Sheffield.